Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday. It is my third episode of my podcast, Rob's Cast. It is 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. How about those Dodgers, man? Great job, Shohei Ohtani. 4-0 sweep of the Brewers. The Dodgers, they face Toronto in the World Series. I think the Dodgers are going to win in 5 or 6. Going to be a great series to watch. Shohei Ohtani will carry the way for the Dodgers. It's been great watching the Dodgers this postseason. It's just been an incredible run. 3 home run performance by Shohei Ohtani. Hit one out of Dodger Stadium. Never seen anything like it. Shohei Ohtani, the modern day Babe Ruth. I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday today. I have a lot of interesting topics for Rob's Cast today. We're going to incorporate a couple different topics today. The first 2 episodes have kind of been about my mindset, my work ethic, and my vision of building a real estate empire. Based on feedback from some of my fans, today we are going to talk a little bit more about my travel experiences throughout the country and in Mexico. And we're also going to talk about my childhood, which I haven't talked about that often. So today's really going to be a great episode. I would love to hear your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. I love feedback so it can help me to grow and develop and become better. This year, I'm looking forward to the NBA season, the Detroit Pistons. I think the Pistons are going to make a run in the postseason this year, as long as there's not too many injuries. Very excited to see the growth and development of Cade this year. He had a great season last year. I think he can up his game even more and take it to the next level. So I'm very excited for the Detroit Pistons. I think the future is very bright. I do plan on going to a couple Pistons games this year, at least one. Get some good seats in the lower bowl, preferably row one, a courtside. I love watching basketball, especially the Detroit Pistons. I think the future is very bright this year. Now we're going to get into my adventure to Moxalan, Mexico. So I did go to Moxalan, Mexico back in 2023, which is in the Mexican state of Sinaloa. It is a resort beach town. I stayed at the Pablo Bonito Moxalan Beach Resort. I stayed there for 8 nights. It was $340 US a night, all-inclusive 5-star resort. Great customer service, great amenities. The pool was amazing. The restaurants was amazing. The service was amazing. I did not get Montezuma's curse, so the water was very clean and filtered. 5-star experience all around. Another thing that I would like to bring up about the Pablo Bonito Moxalan Beach Resort, they did clean your room twice a day, so everything was clean. It was a spotless experience. Highly recommend the Pablo Bonito Moxalan Beach Resort. So if you ever want to go to Moxalan, I would highly recommend staying there. It's worth the money. Great experience. I felt very safe. No issues. I know there's been some horror stories about Mexico, but I had a very good experience in Mexico. As long as you go down there and you're not causing any trouble and you mind your own business, you're not going to have any issues. And then the next vacation, it was also in 2023, October of 2023. I went to Miami for 5 days. I stayed at the famous Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida. Overall, the experience was pretty good. It was a 4-star hotel. I would give my overall score a 4 out of 5. I got a really good deal on my room, a Sorrento Oceanfront Suite. It was like $330 a night. The price was great. The room was great. I liked that they had a lot of pools. So that part of Fontainebleau I really like. My only constructive criticism of Fontainebleau is that customer service could have been a little better. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't exceptional. I would give the customer service like between like a 3.5 or 4. It could be a little bit better. If the owner of Fontainebleau is watching this podcast episode, I really like the amenities you have at your hotel. It was a great experience overall. The customer service could get a little bit better. Would I stay at Fontainebleau again? Just depends on the price. If I could get like a deal like I did with that Sorrento Oceanfront Suite on the 20th floor again, I would absolutely stay there again. But if it's at like regular price where it's like $700-800 a night, then probably not. That's my honest evaluation and review of the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida. And then the next topic for today is, as you know, I've talked about in the first 2 episodes of my podcast, I love going to Brentwood, Tennessee to visit with my friends Ramon and Rodrigo Sotelo. They have a house in Brentwood. Love the area. Great vibes, great atmosphere, great restaurants, great parks. I just love going there to just focusing on my vision, de-stress, walk along the Governor's Club Trail in Brentwood, Tennessee along Concord Road. There's just nothing like it, you know. I love the Nashville area, especially Brentwood and Franklin and Williamson County. I think Williamson County is nicer than the downtown Nashville area. Not the biggest fan of country music. I kind of more like the suburban Nashville instead of the downtown area, if you get what I'm saying. And then a couple weekends ago, I was in Nashville for the Rob Luna Bulletproof Live 3 conference. I had a great time at that conference. I actually met a couple of great, valuable connections that they really helped with my mindset and development, especially when it comes to my fitness. I was able to talk with the famous fitness trainer Gunnar Peterson about some like fitness advice to kind of help me on my journey of fat loss and help me to like improve my diet and take my life to the next level. It was just great talking with Gunnar Peterson and Tim Grover just to pick their brains, ask them open-ended questions, and just learn some valuable feedback. The biggest thing that you have to realize is you have to be willing to invest in yourself and be able to take constructive criticism from highly successful people. It is very important because if you don't have people in your life pushing you to become better, you're not going to be successful, you're not going to grow, you're not going to develop. And it was great just talking about current events with Sean Ryan. He's a famous podcast host who has millions of subscribers and has his own show, The Sean Ryan Show. Just great talking with him for a couple of minutes, just picking his brain, just asking him questions about current events. It's always great to have a conversation with someone who you don't agree with on everything because it allows you to use critical thinking and it allows you to learn and grow and develop. If you just have a circle where everyone thinks the same exact thing, you're most likely not going to be successful because you need people to push you towards success. They got to drive you. They got to motivate you. And it's good to change your mind sometimes. Look, there's been times where I'll think one way, but I'll have a conversation with someone and my mindset will shift and adjust a little bit. Other times, when I have a debate with someone, I solidify your beliefs. So having a conversation and dialogue with people, it's very important. It's very important to success. My next topic for today's episode is Orange County / Los Angeles. I've been to Orange County 5 times within the past 2 years. I have a lot of friends that live in Southern California. I've been to multiple hotels in Orange County. The first hotel I stayed at back in May of 2024 was the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel. Great hotel, 5-star hotel, about $800 a night, which for Orange County along the ocean, it's pretty reasonable. Orange County is a very wealthy and affluent area. Overall, I had a great experience at the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel along a great beach, along the cliffs. The only constructive criticism I would give is I feel like the rooms at the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel, they do need to be remodeled and updated, but the pools, the restaurants, the service, everything else was great. I would give the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel a 4.8 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 out of 5 is I feel like the rooms do need to be remodeled. But other than that, it's a great hotel. I highly recommend it. And if you stay there, you won't be disappointed. My second hotel that I stayed at in Orange County was over Labor Day weekend 2024, and that was the Montage Laguna Beach. The Montage Laguna Beach was very expensive. It was like $1,350 a night. Stayed there for 3 nights over Labor Day weekend. Great customer service, great rooms, great pools. It's along the Treasure Island Beach. The Montage, 5 out of 5. The rooms are big, they're modern, the amenities are great, customer service is great. I actually was able to get a haircut in my room at the Montage Laguna Beach. Called one of my friends, had him come up to my room, gave me a haircut, cleaned up the mess. The hotel staff was very cool and friendly about that. They didn't give me any issues. They just basically said, as long as you clean up the mess, we don't care if you get a haircut in your room. So they were very friendly, very welcoming, no issues there. I did see a famous celebrity at the Montage Laguna Beach, Scarlett Johansson. She was there with 4 bodyguards, had sunglasses on, so that's an experience that I get to tell people that I saw Scarlett Johansson, a famous Hollywood actress, at the Montage Laguna Beach in Orange County. Some people don't believe it, but I truly did see Scarlett Johansson, which is one of the best memories I've had in my life because I've watched many of her movies growing up as a kid and a teenager, so it's just a surreal experience. Another thing I wanted to talk about, go Lions. I love the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, he's a great coach. The Lions played Monday Night Football last night. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Lions have a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. We'll see. As long as they don't have too many injuries, I think they got a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs, win a Super Bowl. Just very excited about the Lions. Because when I was a kid, the Lions, they were not winning. They had bad management, and they were not a good NFL team. But over the past 4 years, Dan Campbell, he's really turned around the Lions. They're winning, they're growing, they're developing. Brad Holmes, he's a great general manager. He's drafting great elite NFL talent. So it's just very exciting to watch the Lions over the past couple years. I've been wanting. Sorry about the interruption. Let's get back to Rob's cast. As I was saying, the Lions, they've been great the past couple years. They've been winning. They've been growing, they've been developing. Dan Campbell's a great coach. Very excited. As I was saying, been trying to go to the Lions game the past couple years. Tickets have been really expensive. We're going to try to make that happen this year. I love to support my Detroit Lions. Go Lions. We love Dan Campbell. We love Brad Holmes. Very excited for the future of the Lions. And a Super Bowl is coming to Detroit, and we will win one. Another thing I wanted to talk about is you have to be motivated and hungry for success. One thing I wanted to talk about, when I was a kid, didn't have a lot of friends. I was an outcast. And that's kind of why I'm motivated and hungry for success. I didn't have a great childhood. I was a loner. I was an outcast. I was bullied. I was picked on. And that's part of the reason why I'm so motivated for success. Because no one ever believed in me as a kid, and I was an outcast. And I use that as motivation and fuel for success so I can keep on winning, keep on growing, and keep on developing and prove my doubters and haters wrong. You gotta have that motivation and fire to succeed in life. And my childhood experience, it just motivates me to build a real estate empire so I can have a mansion, so I can have a beautiful wife, have fast cars, be able to take care of my family and friends. You gotta shoot for the stars, and you gotta have dreams, and you have to be willing to put in the work and take care of business. That's what you have to do in life. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to bet on yourself. Because if you don't, no one is going to believe in you. And I can tell you from personal experience, if you have no confidence, you are not going to be successful in life. If you don't believe it is going to happen, it is not going to happen. You have to keep the faith and keep the confidence and have discipline and work ethic. That is what allows you to become a winner and a champion. Keep on working hard. Keep on investing in yourself. I believe in you. I want to see you win. I want to see you grow. I want to see you develop. And the sky is the limit. Now let's continue on my topic of my childhood. So when I was in elementary school, I did not have a lot of friends. I had a couple friends, but as I was saying earlier, I was a loner. When I was in recess in elementary school, I would just go on the swings and just kind of swing and just kind of clear my mind and just meditate and just focus on my thoughts. And then I did play flag football in elementary school. I didn't do that every day, but every once in a while I would join the flag football at my elementary school, Schweitzer Elementary, and I would play with the kids. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was probably some of my best moments in elementary school, just playing flag football with the kids. I was a little kid in elementary school. I'm only 5 feet 2 inches. I'm very short as a man. So even in elementary school, I wasn't like very athletic and was not like a football star, but I just played for fun and for exercise. And then my next topic is I have a vision of starting a foundation when I'm very wealthy so I can give back to the less fortunate, to help out poor people in need who don't have the resources needed to have a successful life. One of the big things that I want to do with my foundation when I am very wealthy and have the money is I want to be able to donate to educational purposes, to lead school of choice initiatives so kids can go to the school that they want to and that they can thrive. I want poor people to be able to have the chance to go to a great school where they're not facing violence and gangs and all that bad stuff, and have the chance to learn, to grow, develop, and better their lives, and meet and develop valuable connections. And then another big important aspect of my future foundation is I want to be able to help people that are facing persecution from the government to be able to fund a legal defense. Because as we all know, the government can target people if they don't like you, and I want to be able to help support legal defense for people that need an attorney and legal representation to fight back and protect their image and to be found innocent. That is another thing that I don't like seeing, that a lot of times people will get convicted when they're innocent because they don't have the proper legal representation. So when I'm a wealthy, successful real estate entrepreneur, I want to start a foundation in regards to education, school of choice, and legal representation. One of the big things I'm big on is it can't just be about the money. Yes, everyone wants to make money, but you got to have a purpose in life, and you got to help people, and you got to serve, and you got to make an impact on a community. And that's what life's about. You become successful, you got to help out the people that are struggling in life, because it just feels great seeing someone smile because you did something good and you turn someone's life around using your resources of success. You have to give back. I just love doing it. It's always great when I receive an award, but when I give it back to someone, it's like there's nothing like it. It just makes people happy. It makes a difference in the community, and that's what I'm about. And then another thing I wanted to discuss is, as a 25-year-old aspiring real estate entrepreneur, over the next 5 years, I am locked in and focused on building a real estate empire. Of what I want to do is help the young people in high school. I want them to be able to connect with fellow entrepreneurs so we can help guide the youth. And with my foundation that I plan on starting when I am very successful, I'm going to be going to a lot of high schools, talking with kids and just helping them figure out their life and serve a positive impact on the community. And that's what life's about. I want to see young kids that were like me 10 years ago. No one believed in them. They don't have friends. I want to serve a difference and help them to become successful and to fulfill their dreams and visions. I want them to be like, because of Rob Krett and his foundation, I achieved my dreams and visions 5 years sooner than I would have without Rob. That's what you have to focus on. You got to focus on your legacy, your impact, and serving the people. Because look at me. If people saw me 10 years ago, no one would have thought I'd have the mindset that I do today. My mindset over the past 4 years has changed significantly. And the reason why my mindset changed is because I removed the bad, toxic friends and influences from my circle, and I started associating with highly successful entrepreneurs who have been guiding my life, providing me with great feedback, and just showing me the way. And over the past couple years, my mindset has adjusted. Just ask my friends Ramon and Rodrigo Sotelo. When they first met me back in 2021, I had no job. I was unemployed. I had only $35 to my name. And I had no vision, no impact. Back then in 2021, I was just eating Domino's pizza, drinking beer, and I had no purpose and no identity in my life. And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life back then. But over the past couple of years, I've been focusing on my health, investing in myself by going to business conferences and looking for partners who are willing to invest in me so I can build my real estate empire. That is how you change your life. You have to stay focused, you have to stay dedicated, you have to invest in yourself, and you have to keep the faith, and you have to keep the confidence, and you have to remove the negative haters from your circle. Constructive criticism is great. Constructive criticism will help you grow and develop. Pure hatred and negativity will take the whole house down. You don't want that in your circle. It is very important that you know the difference between constructive criticism and just nagging hatred, because there's a difference. Constructive criticism leads to growth, and it identifies areas of improvement, and it's coming from a good-hearted position. Pure hatred and negativity is coming from a position of jealousy, where the person wants to see you fail just so they stay at their level. And you don't want that in your life. Then the next topic is a recent Supreme Court decision that happened in 2025. The Barnes v. Felix Supreme Court decision happened this year, 9-0 unanimous Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court is very political, so when you see a 9-0 decision, that is very rare and not common. Now we're going to get into the details regarding the Barnes v. Felix decision. It is regarding law enforcement. So the Barnes v. Felix decision states that in a police encounter, the police must use the totality of the circumstances, and the court will look at all of the interaction to determine whether a police/law enforcement action was justified. This is a groundbreaking decision because the president for the previous 40 years on the law was the moment of threat doctrine. I am very happy that the Supreme Court changed it to the totality of the circumstances, because in the past there have been some actions done by law enforcement that have been deemed justified based on the moment of threat doctrine, but now with the totality of the circumstances doctrine established by the Supreme Court, many of those actions in the past would have been deemed not justified and there would have been accountability held on law enforcement. And that is a great thing. It's going to help improve the tactics by law enforcement, and it's going to force law enforcement to really focus on de escalation, because now that the moment of threat doctrine is no longer in use, the police are not going to be able to frame an interaction in 2 seconds to justify an action, because the court is going to look at the whole interaction to see if the action is justified. I think this is great for police accountability to make sure that they're doing their best to de-escalate the situation and not have it lead to a violent, deadly outcome. And then the next topic for today's episode is the Thompson v. Clark Supreme Court decision. This decision is the expansion of civil rights protections for the public against police. Basically, what this Supreme Court decision is, it makes it easier to hold the police accountable if your constitutional rights are violated. Yes, the police still do have qualified immunity, which does make it an uphill battle, but this Supreme Court decision, it expands civil rights protection, so it does make it a little bit easier to hold the police accountable for civil rights and constitutional violations. And then another thing I did want to talk about is the state of Ohio. They are trying to get the End Qualified Immunity ballot initiative on. They do need 400,000 signatures in the state of Ohio to get it on the ballot. That is something that I would advise people to support, ending qualified immunity if you live in the state of Ohio. And this is not a political issue. This is just about accountability and holding law enforcement accountable so they are not able to violate the Constitution and civil rights without accountability. I don't care what your politics is. This is just common sense. The police, they have to be held accountable for their actions. The police are supposed to serve and protect the community, and they have to be held to a higher standard. And if you allow them to get away with constitutional violations based on ignorance, we're not a police state. The police have to be held accountable to the law, and that's my position on that. If you live in the state of Ohio, I would highly recommend that you sign the ballot initiative to get the 400,000 signatures needed to get the End Qualified Immunity ballot initiative on the 2026 ballot, so the people of Ohio can vote to end qualified immunity, to end constitutional rights abuses, and protect civil rights of the people of Ohio. And ultimately, my hope is qualified immunity will be abolished throughout the United States. Look, I want to be clear. I don't think every police officer is bad. I think there's some good police officers out there that do it for the right reason, to protect and serve the public. But there is also police officers that do it for the wrong reason, to do ego policing, and because currently they have qualified immunity and they think they can do what they want without accountability. So I just wanted to be clear. I do support ending qualified immunity, but I do not think every police officer is bad. There's good police officers that do it for the right reason, and there's bad police officers that do it for the wrong reason. It's a mixed bag. And my goal is I want more police officers to join who do it for the right reason to protect and serve the public, to keep the public safe, to respect and protect the Constitution, and to actually go after the real criminals instead of targeting law abiding citizens for little to no reasons. That is the purpose of my podcast on this issue. I want to make the police and the law enforcement experience better for the people. Because we, the people, we fund the police with our taxes. They have to respect and serve the public. They cannot treat the public with disdain and disrespect. They are public servants and they have to respect we, the people. And I am a civil libertarian. I believe in the protection of civil rights. I'm a proud libertarian. I'm a live and let live type of person. I have my life. Someone else may have a different life. And that is totally okay with me. We're all not going to be the same. We all have our differences. We all have our opinions. We have to respect each other. And we have to protect civil liberties and civil rights. And I also believe in economic freedom and low taxes and limited government so people can build a successful life without having to give a lot of their money to the government for programs and purposes that they do not agree with. So I am big on economic opportunity and the protection of civil rights. That is very important to me. Anyone that knows me knows that I love all people. I treat everyone with respect, and I'm big on that. I have a lot of friends that don't agree with me, but they're still my friends because I treat them great and I treat them with respect, and I'm big on that. You have to have respect both ways. You have to respect someone else, and they have to respect you. That is very important in life and in establishing friendships. And then the third and final Supreme Court case that I am going to be talking about today, this one, I am a little disappointed with the ruling. I do think the Supreme Court got this case wrong. Pennington versus West Virginia. The Supreme Court allowed the police to go into a house in West Virginia without a search warrant. I do think the Supreme Court got this decision wrong. A child was missing in the area. The police thought that the child was in that house. They were not. They did not have a warrant. I want to be very clear. If the police want to search a house, they have to have a warrant unless there is exigent circumstances. And the reason why I think the Supreme Court got this case wrong is, look, I totally understand. There was a child missing in the area. They thought that the child was in there. But based on my analysis of the Pennington versus West Virginia case, I don't think the police had exigent circumstances to search the house. I don't think so. Look, if they would have had concrete evidence suggesting that the child was in there, then that would have been exigent circumstances. But the reason why there was not exigent circumstances is law enforcement will try to abuse their power and authority by just creating a hunch or trying to frame something so they can get the exigent circumstances where there's not exigent circumstances. I am big on the protection of civil rights and civil liberties, and that is why I am taking the position I am today. Because with this Pennington versus West Virginia decision, you're going to see a lot more questionable cases where the police are going to justify searching someone's house and potentially causing thousands of dollars in damages looking for someone or something based on questionable information. And then the homeowner is going to have to spend thousands of dollars fixing their home for no reason, and the government is going to invoke qualified immunity and not pay for the damages. That is why I'm taking the position. I want the people's rights to be protected against infringements from the government. Because, let's be totally honest, when the government makes a mistake, they don't admit they make a mistake. They try to frame it, they try to say, we did this, such and such, but that was not the original reasoning, so they can get out of taking accountability for the mistake. And then they make the homeowner and the people cover the cost. The government, they're not honest, they're not transparent, they're not your friend, and you gotta understand that. The government, they don't do everything for the right reason. They're not out for your interest. They're out for themselves. And that's why I'm a libertarian and I believe in the protection of civil rights and constitutional protections. And then the final topic for today's podcast, I talked about it a little bit earlier. There is no room for negativity in your life and in your circle. If you want to become a winner and a champion, you got to have a circle of like-minded individuals that help you grow and develop and become 1% better on a daily basis, and they push you to grow and reach and achieve your dreams and shoot for the stars. Another thing that I want to expand on that topic is, if you want to win, you can't have a circle filled with people that don't have your best interest and you can't trust. You have to have people that have your best interest at heart. If you have to worry about your circle while you sleep, you have the wrong circle. And back in my high school days and back in my middle school days, I had people in my circle that were taking advantage of me. They were exploiting me. They didn't have my best interest. And that is why I was not successful in my life. Because I was being taken advantage of. And you can't have that if you want to be successful in your life. You have to truly focus on developing a circle of friendship that will help you learn, grow, and develop and provide you with constructive criticism to win and thrive in life. As I talked in my first episode, you should have a third of your friendship circle that is way more successful than you, and they're doing your vision of what you want to do in life on a highly successful level. So, for example, a third of my circle is people involved in real estate. They are highly successful real estate entrepreneurs. and they have 7, 8, and 9 figure real estate empires. And they provide me with advice and guidance on how I can build that vision for myself. And they've gone through my situation in life many years earlier. So they're able to provide me with advice and feedback on how to overcome my obstacles and to create my 7, 8, and 9, and maybe 10 figure real estate empire in the future. That is how you build your life. You have to connect with people that are way more successful than you. Because if you don't, it decreases your chances of achieving your vision. And my vision is a real estate empire. I want to be known as Rob Kratt, the real estate tycoon that has a real estate empire and has a great foundation that makes a difference in the community. You have to focus on your legacy and your impact. You have to focus on that. You want to be remembered for something great. And to be remembered for something great, you have to put in the hard work, you have to have discipline, and you have to be able to overcome adversity and obstacles, and you have to keep the faith while everyone else doesn't have the faith in you. Because if you don't have the confidence in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. That is how you become a winner and a champion. And then part 2 is to have a third of your friendship circle be in the same position that you're in currently. So a third of my circle currently is aspiring real estate entrepreneurs. They haven't hit home run success, but they have the mindset, they have the discipline, they have the work ethic. They're just working very hard to build their circle and to become highly successful. And it's great having those type of people in your life because they're in the same position I'm in right now. They're trying to build the real estate empire. They're putting in the work. They're doing everything right. They just haven't hit home run success. And it's like you're kind of like in a pack and you're just seeing who can go the furthest. So it's great for competition. It's great for mindset. And you learn from those people as well. Each person in your life, they have a unique and special purpose. Not everyone's purpose is the same. Each person brings something different to the table. And the third and final thing that I would recommend regarding your friendship circle is having a third of people. They're not necessarily highly successful, but they have great characteristics. They're a great friend. You can trust them. They support you. They cheer you on. They want to see you win. They want to see you grow. They want to see you develop. They're not taking advantage of you. They're just cheering you on. And I refer to those people as the cheerleaders. They might not have the entrepreneurial mindset. They might not help you in regards to your real estate empire, but they're just a great human being. They love you, they support you, they want to see the best for you. You've known them for a long time, and it's great to have those people in your life as well because they're not negative people, they're positive, enthusiastic people. They're not entrepreneurs, but they're great people. They want to see you win. And as I talked about, life is about balance. You can't just be all 100% about only real estate and your vision. Yes, it is a big part of my life, but I treat people with respect and I want great people in my life. That's not to say that you keep everyone in your circle. No. I've had to cut out numerous people from my circle because they were bad influences. They were not good human beings. They were bringing negativity and pure hatred and disguising it as constructive criticism. And they did not want my best interest. So I'm not saying keep everyone in your circle. That is not what I'm saying at all. You have to make the tough and difficult decisions on who to keep in your circle and who to not. But what I'm saying is, don't just cut someone out just because they don't have a 100% entrepreneur mindset. If they're part of that cheerleader category and the great people and they love you, they support you, and they want to see you win and achieve your dreams, keep them in your life. Because they're great people and they love you, they support you, and they want to see the best for you. But if someone is negative and they're a hater and they're constantly talking down about you and your vision, you have to remove that individual from your life. Negativity and pure hatred, it is a cancer, it is a demon. You cannot have it in your life. Remove negativity from your circle. Focus on having people that are growth oriented, positive, unconditional support. They tell you the truth. They provide honest, constructive criticism when needed, and you can trust them when you sleep at night. That is the key to success. Focus on your mindset, your growth and development. And the last topic for tonight, focus on your circle at all costs. If you have bad influences in your circle, remove them and you will replace them with better influences. And that is how you 10x your life within 5 years. Focus on yourself and your circle. This was my episode for Rob's Cast today. It was a true, genuine, and honest conversation. I had a great time doing my podcast episode today. I love doing this podcast. I love helping grow and develop people to become the best version of themselves. This is my genuine passion. I love to help and serve people to get the most out of my life and to help others get the most out of their life. As always, please provide me with honest feedback on my podcast episode today so I can learn, grow, and develop and use the feedback to become better and to make Rob's Cast even better than it is today. I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. God bless. Be safe. Go Lions. Go Dodgers. Go Pistons. Have a great day.